let's discuss how to do a backflip. It's really simple, it's completely psychological. First, you start with this. You hit, you hold your neck, you come up. Now that's just step one. That's really something you have to do very well, especially having a firm neck. It makes it a lot easier. Because then, here's number two. You come, bounce, you throw your body back, right? So you keep that up, you keep practicing, you keep landing it, then you do the hard part. Now it's not hard because it's physically difficult. No, your muscles are aligned very well to do a backflip. The hard part is the psychological part. The first time you do something difficult can be scary, right? Well, a backflip's even more so. You're imagining yourself landing on your head, which is quite honestly almost impossible to do. Even as a trained person in this, it's so hard to actually do that. So once you really got it, you really know what you're doing, then you can just throw yourself backwards. It's all psychological. So once you get really good at it, it starts to look like this. And one more. Woo! All right, now let's show Tony how to do it. All right, Tony, you grew up boxing, right? When you were young, right? And I grew up jumping on trampolines. Let me teach you how to do a backflip, right?
Okay.
It's all psychological. Your muscles, they're completely aligned to do a backflip. It's a little bit scary. I'm going to teach you the steps, and maybe we can do at least half a backflip today, all right? So let me first show you what I mean by a backflip. A backflip just looks like this.
Oh, it just looks like this. He says, oh, it just looks like this, as if it's like natural. Me, you grew up doing this stuff. I'm just about 99% of everyone else. Just do this, it's not just do this. Well, yeah, okay, mate, I'll just try it.
All right, so Tony, let me just show you step one. Step one's really simple. It's all about knowing how to land and holding your neck firm, because you can hurt your neck doing this, right? So just watch. You land like this, you come back up. Ooh, land, come back up. You're trying not to hit your head on the mat. It will give you a headache. Okay, so hold your neck like this, firm. All right, that's step one. You got to land and come back up. Yeah, there we go. Do it again, a little bit more. Practice makes perfect. All right, no, that's good. All right, I think, you're doing really great. So now we're gonna go step two. Now, this is step two. It's the same concept, but I'm gonna try to roll backwards, okay? So, I come here, and roll backwards. Again, repeat. It's easy. Roll back. Just throw your legs, okay?
It's easy.
You can do it. There we go. that was pretty good actually for a first time. Wow, that's a good one. Tony, nothing in life is hard. Everything is easy as long as you're willing to keep trying for it and never give up. Yeah. So let's take a break since maybe a little bit tired.
Yeah.
We'll come back in a few minutes. Anything you want to say?
So is that all I've got to do? Just keep practicing that, and then once you master that, then you can do it.
So once you master that and you kind of land correctly,
Straight,
right? Land straight. Then what ends up happening is the next part is only psychological. I worked with a lot of kids on this, right, including my son. And I taught my son all these things. And then he's like, but Dad, I can't do a backflip. And I said to him, it's all in your mind, 100%. Right. He's like, okay, I'm surprised too. I thought it would be a long journey. But as soon as I said that, backflip within like 10 seconds.
Yeah, so what do it.
Yeah, but you don't do that just yet. You got to keep practicing. Yeah. Like, you want to try this one? All right, come over here. So this is a giant air bag. If you want, you can jump into it. It's actually really fun. Woo! Nice. Whoa! That's a great one. So, let's see. I don't think you're ready for a backflip just yet. Really? Well, you have it in your muscles to do it. It's just, right now, the only issue is landing. I want you to land it correctly. There we go. Yeah, that's a lot better.
Oh, I get dizzy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All these backflips can make you a bit dizzy. Take a break a little bit.
No, I think it's great. Here, beautiful kids to be able to come and do this. Definitely a different sort of learning, which they'll love.
Here's one of the reasons I got the trampoline park, aside from the fact that I love trampolines. So with school, you have two choices. Either you love school or school hates you, right, whenever you leave. And how about you? Whenever you left school, whenever you finished, did you love school or did you think school hated you?
I couldn't stand school. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand it.
Yeah. So imagine, what if you had loved school? What if it was so fun? Would that have helped you in life? If you thought school was just the funnest thing in the world, would it help you even with boxing?
Yeah, of course. So we want you to get up in the morning to go to school and have fun. I remember where I'm from, especially with cold. You get up for school and as you get there, the teachers are just telling you off. And you're sat in that little classroom with the lights, the bad lighting.
The fluorescent lighting.
Lighting. the little cage. You're not allowed to.
Oh, little cage.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to go to the toilet. You're not asked to go to the toilet. Yeah, this is the type of learning.
I agree. So I like what you said about the fluorescent light. Do you know about this? You know about the studies?
No.
So the fluorescent lights, they would have been brought in maybe even when we were very young, right? And actually academics decreased because of them. And when they finally got rid of those nasty, ugly white fluorescent lights, grades went up, right? So you evolved to be out here in nature, for the sunlight, right? For all the brightness, the fluorescent light is sick, right? There's many things that we do in education that just lowers the quality of our life, lowers the quality of our learning, and the lights that we chose in the 1980s and 90s were one of them. Thankfully, they're gone, but still the classrooms are dark. I don't care how many light bulbs you have, it's never going to be as good as sunlight.
Right, yeah.
Any circumstance.
Yeah, and it's still there as well. A lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. But then another great thing I love about it here is like you're helping kids become leaders rather than followers. Where I feel like the traditional schooling system, it's creating followers.
Absolutely. I mean, the traditional system was built for factory workers.
Yeah.
Right? I think we're done with factory workers. I think, we're in the age of AI.
Right.
We're even done with like robot students, right? We need people to think critically, to disagree with us, right? Here's one of the things I tell my kids, right? I say, don't ask me what's possible, what's not possible, because I don't know. I only know what was possible for me in my time. But if you ever, and I tell the parents this too, never tell your kids what's not possible, right? Because you don't know.
Yeah.
Your daughters, they could be on Venus, they could be on Mars, they could be under the depths of the ocean. They're going to be doing things that you could never have fathomed.
Right, yeah.
It's not for us.
Yeah. No, and I actually do tell them that because seems to me, where I come from, we'd now be traveling the world, homeschooling the kids, and doing what we're doing as a family. It's awesome. Everyone would tell me, no, you're not going to, that's impossible. But it's far from the truth.
Yeah.
If you use your mind and you take that leap and you go against the grain, I think a lot of people are afraid with the homeschooling or even this type of schooling. People are afraid to go against the grain.
100%.
What happens is, what happened with me, it's like people are telling you, you can't homeschool your kids, you can't travel with your kids, you can't do this, you can't do that. But why? Who said so? Your parents, their parents, their parents' parents,
Yes.
But you can, and when you take that leap, it opens up a massive world out there, right?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to teach our kids this as well.
Yeah.
If people are telling you, like you said, you can't do this, you can, right?
Well, it's the same with the flipping, as I told you, right? If you believe you can do a backflip, you can do a backflip.
Right.
If you believe you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you want to make it easier, you see a tall mountain, right? And you tell yourself, wow, I can't do that. Or, oh, I can do that.
Right.
Which one do you think is going to be easier to actually succeed?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah. I was actually telling my kids a little bit off the topic, but similar is, I was telling them the other day about the people who you're around with. If you're around people who are telling you you're stupid, you're dumb, you're fake, after a year, how do you feel like you're going to feel? You're going to feel like that.
Yeah.
But if you're around people telling you you're great, wow, you're so smart, you work so hard with everything, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's that same as sport. Like you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge believer in that.
Absolutely.
So getting around like-minded people is a big thing.
Yeah. Well, not just like-minded people, but people who think differently, people who are willing to go make the changes the world needs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, me and you have different backgrounds, different goals, but I think me and you share that similar thing. Like, we want a better world. We want to push our kids. We want to push ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
We cannot make the world we want by sitting down playing TikTok all day.
Right, yeah.
Right?
And that's a huge problem now we'll get into with the social media thing.
That's a few days of chat right there.
Well, like, even you can use TikTok as a business, which I have done.
Yep.
And rather than letting TikTok use you,
nice.
you can use that. Same with all social media platforms. You use that rather than not using you.
That's true.
And you can make a living from it.
Yeah. That sounds good. All right, let's try another backflip. You want to try?
No,
Let me show you again, and then you just kind of look into it. You want to hold this?
Yeah.
All right. Give me some space, guys. Okay. See how I tuck my legs? It made it a little bit easier for me. So I think, again, from your point of view, it was some kind of just a natural fear, right? And you can overcome it. If you just keep practicing it, and yes, you get dizzy. Even I'm a little bit dizzy right now. It's a normal part of our life. But then when we're not dizzy, we can do the more complex ones, like this one. Wow. So that, it's the same concept, but I'm throwing my feet, not my knees.
Right.
But again, super physically easy.
So
to do.
high.
It's easy. Landing like that's actually the hard part. All right, I'm gonna give it a try. Remember, try to start up here in the front so you're not bouncing too high and you have lots of space.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a pretty big trampoline. There we go. Okay, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah. So you get more momentum.
Yep.
How do you do that?
Well,
That took your legs, right?
yeah. So try to use not just your legs, use your whole body to throw yourself back. Yeah. Your pelvis, everything. Wow, okay, used a lot of force for that one.
Yeah, but I went up rather
Yeah.
than back.
How about this? Do you want to try laying down and just rolling backwards? Maybe try that for a second. That might give you some more practice. See, there we go. You also went a little bit to the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're dizzy, just take a break. Oh, I mean, just like boxing, right? Sometimes you hit in the face, you have to take a break.
Yeah. I always remember there was this one training method that came from India. A boxing training method, we've seen the Indians doing it, where what they would do, so they'd be shadow boxing, move around. And then the coach would get them to spin around for 20 seconds. So they spin around for 20 seconds. They'll lie on the ground, they'll stand back up and shadow box again. So the reason behind that is if you get hit so hard, obviously you get
Dizzy.
dizzy, and it's getting your body used to being dizzy while you're shadow boxing. Now one coach had me do that, and I was sick for the rest of the day. Killed us. So yeah, I avoided that. So that was a game method.
No, it's smart. Yeah.
But, so let me ask you, while we're creating content, what is your plans with empathy schools? I know you want to change the world, you want to make it a better place. And I was here a year ago, and I could just see how much better this has got. I didn't think it was going to get much better, but it is, and you're making it better all the time. So what is your plans with the school?
I love it. So, I believe we have one life, and what are we going to do during that life? Chasing money is rather boring, right? I want to change the world, right? So you didn't like your education, you didn't like your school, right? And so many people are the same way, right? And even if you do like the school, it's often not meeting what we really need, right? Even if it was, even if you believed it was perfect, did it teach you what you need to really make the world a better place? Did it fully do it? And the answer is probably not.
Yeah.
So we've known for a very long time how kids learn, right? What allows them to learn well, what allows them to remember information, and we don't implement it, right? Study after study after study is ignored. People just don't implement what we know. So the plan was, I went to Harvard to study specifically how humans learn, little humans precisely. And there's so many things that we know work, and unfortunately we don't apply them. So what I did is I decided to come here and apply them. And I have kids. My kids are 5 and 11 now. I want to make sure they have the best education humanly possible. Right, and they're doing incredibly well. I'm so happy with it, and I see it every day. So it burns this fire in my heart and keeps me going. So I'll give you an example. You see all the green environment, right? So there's this study, it's kind of funny, and it says that even if you're in the UK and you have a cubicle and you paint it green, it's going to lower your stress.
Oh, wow.
It's a bit absurd, but that's the reality. We are animals that love green environments. But you know what works better than painting your cubicle green? This. Yeah. Now, there's so many aspects from the microbiome to being able to see far away, and this helps your eyes, to running around. Every kid gets 10,000 steps in a day, that's for sure, right? So I took what works and I built a school around it. And the goal is to make a model school that others can copy. If I have to, I'll make more as well. I don't have a specific goal outlined for myself. I just want to make sure that we make a really true science-based school that puts the kids first, right? Many schools and many systems, they put everything first. The teacher first, the teacher's important, or the government first, or the budget first. In education, we talk about efficiency a lot, but I got to tell you, you don't want efficiency, you want effectiveness, right? So it's really about implementing things that work, and I honestly believe this is the future. I believe in 100 years, your great-grandkids will read about urban environments. What was London like when there were people who used to live there, millions of people? Because there's no reason to be in an urban environment anymore. If you're 20 years old, sure, great for finding a partner, right? But once you have kids, I'm sorry, there's no city in the world that's good enough, right? This is the future.
Yeah. So what would you say is the hardest thing for you being an owner of a school, being a principal of the school. And I guess as well, it's not a school with one culture that's coming in. You get kids from all around the world, so there's a lot of different things. What's the hardest thing you and your position right now?
You know what? I would say the hardest thing for me and for everyone, it's always the same. And that's one of the things we try to teach the kids here. We try to teach them not to have things like self-doubt, right? When I decided to create this school, it's scary, right?
Yeah.
It's a really big, difficult project. And each time I improve the school and work on the whole ecosystem surrounding the school, it's always scary. It's always self-doubt. But it's not the reality that's the problem, it's what's in here, right? And I would say as long as we can overcome that, then everything is easy. Right. That's why sometimes you'll hear me talk about backflips or anything else, say it's easy. It's easy not because it's easy because I know within my own heart and my ability I can do it. I believe it. Yeah. And if you believe it's easy, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, good. That's great. And what would you say to the people who see this is not like the kids who come here? It's not going to be good for their education. That sort of thing.
Well, first, I'm not going to let that stress me out, right? It's going to be a thing. People are going to say that. Yeah. People are going to criticize it, and that's okay. You know what? On that note, I teach my kids. I teach my sons, because I have two boys. I teach them the more you do in this world, the more they will criticize you. My oldest son wants to land on asteroids. Right? He wants to mine them because he wants to stop mining, which is going all over Indonesia and the world, right? And people, of course, even the other adults tell him it's not possible, right? Why would you do that? Do something else. Do something more stable. You know what I say? I say, look, you want to change the world, go change it, right? People will say these things to me and they'll say that this isn't the right way to learn. But the thing is, time will show I'm right, right? The research is behind everything I do, right? And I already see these kids, and quite honestly, I see these kids who've been with us for years, and the way they are different from other kids is astronomical. Sometimes they sound like, I'll talk to a 9-year-old and he'll sound like a 75-year-old man. He's so wise and he understands the world. He's still learning his math, he's still learning basic algebra, but he understands like interpersonal communication better than most adults. There's this saying we have here. So Ubud is sometimes a place you come to heal. And there's a funny saying the community has. It's, the goal of this school is that when these kids become adults, they don't have to come to Ubud to heal.
Right. Yeah.
Think about how much effort and energy people have to spend on finding themselves as an adult. What if you knew who you were when you were younger? What if you knew how to care for yourself, empathy for yourself? What if you knew how to understand others, empathy for others? What if you, even though society's insane, what if you could have empathy for society, understand how it came about and why it is, so you're not being anxious and overstressing yourself? Right. If you do all these things, just those things, would life be better? And the answer is yes.
The one who answered this question, but I want to put it out with something context. So we're in the middle of the jungle. Your school is here. Total nature, but the future is technology. A lot of the future is technology. Artificial intelligence is coming along now, and that's kind of leading the way in everything. You would see, look at the school, you think that's so old-fashioned, like playing in fields, and you've got the bamboo classrooms and all that. Yeah. Is this going to leave kids way behind traditional education? Because where's the technology?
Yeah, it's a good one. So how about this? I would say absolutely not. The most important skill that you're going to learn with technology is not how to use that technology, but the adaptability, right? Technology in your lifetime, how many times has it changed, right? So being able to adapt, being able to understand, and again, that's mostly internal, but understand, how the world changes and how you can change with it is an incredibly important skill that you learn very easily. If it's raining, if it's sunny, we still have class, right? So I would say this is the future. This is the future because it affects the way you feel, it affects the way you think, and quite honestly, all the adults need to be in environments like this too. Right? When you're in cities, humans are not healthy in cities. They're not mentally healthy, they're not physically healthy. This is the future. It's this, and maybe with a lot of technology as well, but not in the hands of young kids. I don't see any need to put a technological device in the hands of anyone under 10. There's no need as long as you have people here to help them and support them. Yeah. When they get older, my oldest, he wrote books using AI, right? And it's great. But to get to that point, it's not the AI. You have to get to the critical thinking to make the decisions to be able to get there. And this kind of environment where you have to make critical decisions, where you get to build buildings as part of your art class, where you get to melt down metal as part of your metallurgy class, where you get to go measure rice fields with ropes in your math class, right? Yeah. These create critical thinking in every aspect so that when it does come to AI, you can control the AI.
Yeah, and that's great. And that's one of the reasons why I love my kids to come here rather than doing a traditional school, because when I was a kid, I didn't like school, but after school I would be going out, I would be preparing, I would be building, and this is helping me be a good critical thinker right now. And I think critical thinking is huge, and that's exactly what we get here, right?
Yeah. So it's all these things that they face on a daily basis, which really drives critical thinking. So in a traditional environment, honestly, it's hard to teach critical thinking, right? You're studying your math, your English from a piece of paper. There's no inputs that are hard to decide, and you're being given everything. You're doing this with no deviation. But it is the deviation, it is the self-choice when you're young, especially, that allows for the critical thinking. I'll give you an example. Do you remember in high school you're probably doing a project and someone wasn't pulling their weight in the project?
Yeah.
Remember this?
Yeah.
So first we teach our kids how to talk when that's happening. Hey, this is uncomfortable, I don't like this. But you know what? We don't start in high school. We start at age 6, right? So by this young age, getting into this environment, you're first of all far more likely to speak up. You're not shy at that point, right? You're more likely to speak up. You're more likely to explain yourself. It's easier to teach them how to talk. And this is a form of critical thinking. We know that. But in traditional systems, for arbitrary reasons, it starts at like high school, right? We start project-based learning at 6 years old and even younger in some of the projects. Because honestly, isn't the entire world projects? Everything you do these days is projects. You don't do exams anymore, do you?
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be a very hard question for you to answer. Very hard.
Yeah, I love it.
So we've just spoke about all of the pros of this environment, kids learning. And the next question is going to be, what's the cons?
Yeah, okay. So the heat, all right, let's talk about the weather, right? It can be the heat, it can be the rain, but again, it's all adaptability, right? So there's this beautiful saying, when it rains, some people get wet and others dance in the rain. It's a perception. So it is definitely difficult, right? We're in Ubud, so it doesn't get too hot, so we're pretty good on that one. But when the rain comes, if it's a little bit of rain, it's not that bad. But when it rains hard enough, you can't really hold classes. So I have two choices at that point. I can complain about it, or I can say, kids, just go outside and play. Right? And some of the best memories I have are my boys just running around, sliding chest first through this football field in this deep rain.
Yeah.
So, it's a negative, but with every negative we can see a positive.
Yeah.
It definitely requires a lot of thought. So there's not a lot of schools like this. So I do have to constantly really focus deeply on how to solve a problem that has never been solved before. I think as humans we like convenience. We like the cookie cutter molds, and you can get that in a traditional school. But since we're not that traditional school, we run into a problem. We have to find a solution. Right? And it's not easy. How do we do it? So it takes a lot more energy and a lot more people for everything. In fact, so we have about 100 kids, and in a school in England with 100 kids, you're going to get, 3 teachers?
So much.
We have 30.
Wow.
Right?
30 teachers?
Yes.
Wow.
So as you can imagine, it takes more money, it takes more time to train everybody, it takes more energy. It's so much more of a hassle, but it's worth it. Right? It's worth it for the outcome. It's worth it for the growth that you see in the kids. And it's a negative that it takes so much energy and so much focus. But we do the things we do not because they're easy, but because they're hard. Because we want to change the world.
I love it. And what I tell my kids is do hard things for an easy life.
Beautiful.
Right? Do easy things now. You'll have a hard good life.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
And that's exactly what you're doing now. You're doing them hard things to give these kids not an easy life, but you're going to teach them exactly that what I was talking about. Right? Do hard things for an easy life. And I guess one thing I want to see on camera as well, bringing my kids here. Not only do I love it, but they absolutely love it as well. And they're coming here, they're learning, and they are meeting kids from all different walks of life. Which, back in my hometown where I'm from, I only met the kids from my hometown. and you can learn from them kids. But here, they're learning all sorts from all of these different cultures. Even being in this culture, in Indonesia, they're learning from this culture as well, but also the kids that they're making friends with. And funny story, when we were here the first time, over a year ago, my daughter made two really close friends. One was from Japan and one was from South Korea. We've been traveling the world, and like a month ago, we went to South Korea and we met up with her friend and her family, and we spent the full day with her friend that in South Korea that we met in Bali. Now she speaks to a friend who is at the other side of the world. I didn't even know where South Korea was when I was at school. Now she's got a mate who's in there, who lives there, who we visit, you know. So that is just unbelievable for kids. You know, to get friends from around the world, and she met them here and the school, so that's a huge plus to it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So on campus right now we have about 40 passports, right?
Wow.
And I agree, you know, so every day at my house, I have 2 boys, right? So every day I got all the boys at my house, right? Especially on the weekend, right? I'll have 7, 8 boys at my house. We're having a lot of fun. Everyone has a different culture, and they're always sharing, and they're sharing different foods, different ideas.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that I really like is that, so if you're in England, if you're in the US, you got kind of a, you know, right, left mentality. Things are this way or that way. Yeah, but that's not how it is in real life.
Right.
And when you have all these cultures, you realize everything is great. You realize there's 40 ways to do everything. There's 40 ways to see everything. Yeah. Everything you can imagine is created by, you know, human culture, human ideas. And the way we're doing it isn't necessarily right or wrong. It's just the way it is for us.
Yeah.
And different for someone else.
Yeah, that's great.